Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, brought to you by the great folks over at Montana's. You've heard us talk about them before, folks. Montana's is bringing back the viewing party. They have got daily deals to have you covered all throughout the week. I almost said wing. Because Monday, it's half-price wings. Tuesday, it is the tacos for $5.
$5 Taco Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, there's tacos.
On Tuesdays, $5 tacos.
Wednesday, it's all-you-can-eat ribs. Thursday, the drink specials. Thursday and every day, it's the drink specials. 7 locations across British Columbia: Fort St. John, Kelowna, Langley, Nanaimo, Prince George, Tsawwassen, and of course, Victoria. Be sure to go check out Montana's. And we've got something.
Yeah, that Nanaimo one's got some stories to tell. They got a car up inside of there.
Okay, well, we've got something to share with the listeners here.
At one point, there was a car. So they have a car in there for decoration. If I remember correctly, when I was living back there, there was a car that drove into the patio at one point. Old news. Check that up. Nanaimo News Bulletin. They'll have all
that. That happened at a Dollarama in Burnaby, in
really?
North Burnaby. I used to go to that Dollarama all the time. Okay, we're getting sidetracked here.
Oh, yeah, they got a contest.
Yes, we have
Alex
got a contest
Alex,
to share with you.
Did you mention
folks.
Alex? You didn't say Alex here.
Oh, I didn't even introduce ourselves yet.
No,
my name's Dave Quadrelli. I'm joined as always by the man who built the place, Chris Faber. Our technical producer is Alex Allard. Back behind the controls is our dear friend Alex. Now, we've got a contest. We have partnered with Montana's. We have got a $25 gift card up for grabs now. And we might have something else down the road. We're not sure just yet.
Oh, we do. I can't say it, though.
We can't say it. So for now, what we have for you is the opportunity to win a $25 gift card to Montana's. To enter, you go onto Instagram, you search CanucksArmy.com. That is .com spelled out. So Canucks Army, DOTCOM. You go there. The pin post on the account is the Montana's giveaway. It's the first thing you should see when you go to the profile. What you have to do.
Nobody's entered into the damn thing.
No, there's one person entered.
One person
is entered.
Jeez,
to enter the contest, you need to like the post. You need to follow Montana's and Canucks Army on Instagram. Tag your friends in the comments. And hey, there is no limit on how many comments and how many entries you can leave, but you have to tag friends in each comment.
Tag me, bud. At Chris Faber 39 on Instagram.
We've had Montana's with a listener before. Shout out Greg in Tsawwassen.
Yep, Greg in Tsawwassen. He always wants Greg always wants the show to go longer.
Yeah.
You always shut it down so quick.
Regardless, Montana's. Be sure to go check them out and join our giveaway, folks. We would really appreciate it. We want to see one of our listeners, one of our loyal listeners, get a little Montana's action going.
Before we go into the YouTube folks here, I cut my beard too small. I cut it myself, and it's too short. It's not good. No, Alex, get me off of there.
It looks
not
fine.
Full screen here. No, it's too short.
We should mention off the top here, we will be joined by Scott Rintoul of Unreal West Coast Express. Go Goat Sports, I should say.
Look at that.
Scotty's with. And Scotty's teaching at BCIT, right? Now?
He's not anymore.
He's not?
No.
Well, he was.
He's too busy putting out 50-part series here.
I'll tell you what. We went to BCIT, and this isn't a no knock against the instructors at BCIT. Shout out Brian Weeb, one of our favorites. But missing the opportunity to have Scotty as a teacher.
Oh, I know.
That's tough. That's tough for me to swallow. I'm not gonna lie.
I missed him by 1 year. I would have had him if he would have gone a year earlier. I would have gone a year later. So, but yeah, Scotty's the best. I talked to him for like the whole intermission the other day. The last Canucks game there. I think he was on at the second intermission with Murph. Talked to Scotty the whole first intermission there about this. This seems pretty cool. I've listened to only one episode of it. So far.
I've listened to both. The two that have dropped.
You had both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
You're not a podcast guy either.
No, but I'm a Scott Rintoul guy.
Oh yeah. Who's not though?
Phenomenal storyteller. And as we just endlessly plug another podcast, it's a story podcast. It's good. It's really good.
It's like, remember Ray Ferraro got us on Whistleblower.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I like these stories that like
we should do one day.
Yeah, maybe we will. A story on Canucks combo would be fun.
Yeah, well, like the amount of work, and we'll talk to Scotty. about it. But let's get into.
We got a lot of other stuff to get to, man.
Yeah, you wanted to get into Bye Bo.
Yeah, goodbye, Bo.
Are we really talking about this again?
Just a little bit.
I feel like I'm a little heartless.
I think I want to spend more time going, like we talked about. We did the emergency episode. Check it out on the podcast there. Alex has got he's got a little what do you call it, slideshow here? As much Bo Horvat photos as possible. Good stuff, Alex. But the Bo Horvat trade, let's talk about it. For people who are live here on YouTube, like we haven't had the chance to interact with people about this. That's what's nice about the YouTube podcast listeners. You guys have already heard us go off too much about this, but let's get started. The Canucks return Aatu Raty. Aatu Raty. Depends how you want to go with it. No, it's either way. It's either way.
It's not Raty.
He said you could go either way.
Did he actually say that?
Yep.
I'm saying Raty from now on.
He said either way. I like Raty too.
Conscious effort to say Ratu. I'm going to say Raty.
No, I like it. Yeah, he said either way. It's North American. He said American. Go ahead, say whatever you want.
Well,
Anthony
so
Beauvillier,
he's just saying you can say it wrong, and he's okay with it.
Anthony Beauvillier, who you got actually really excited about when Patrick Allvin called him Antonio Beauvillier.
That's
because
right.
you thought it was a name you could trust. But now it's not a name you can trust in Anthony Beauvillier anymore. So you got him, Aatu Raty, and a first-round pick that's top 12 protected. We've had a little bit of time to let this one sink in a little bit, right? By the way, yeah, Adam Lee's got a comment in there. Can't believe we retained salary on Bo as well. 25% retention.
Who cares?
On Bo Horvat. I think that was something, and Patrick Allvin answered that, was like, that's kind of the way that business has to be done in the NHL this year. And it's going to be interesting to see if that has to happen literally with like every big trade, right? With, guys like Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, you're going to have to retain money there. But Bo Horvat at $5 million, like, I don't know if like you needed to, but I wonder if that's the way the market's just going to go this year. Like, how much do you have to save on Ryan O'Reilly if he gets moved? Like, it's going to be interesting to see these big cap players if you have to take money back and also have to retain to make the money work, because that's just a cap world, man.
Dude, like, think about it this way, and this is crazy to say out loud, but Brock Besser makes more money than Bo Horvat.
Oh yeah,
right now, and this is a contract the Canucks just signed. But
well, no, Bo's got that. He's got that car commercial with
okay.
Connor McDavid. He's doing
talking about his cap hit, not what he actually makes in endorsements. Anyways, Brock Besser makes more money than Bo Horvat for the next 2 seasons after this one. Okay,
I don't know. I think Bo's
okay. You know what I mean? I mean his cap hit. This cap hit 6 points.
Could you imagine Bo signs with the Islanders at like $6 million for 8 years? He just really wanted to get out of Van.
No, stop. Here, let me get this in. I fully expect Brock Besser to be moved at the trade deadline. Been making a couple calls. Been talking around to people. A lot of people are saying that they expect Brock Besser to be moved by the trade deadline.
You think so?
Yeah. This trade deadline, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if he was moved at this deadline.
I would bet that he is.
Okay.
And
interesting.
There's a lot of interest. I think it was Dreger that reported this. There's a lot of interest in Brock Besser right now, but teams aren't willing to do anything unless they know the Canucks are going to retain. Now, if you're the Canucks, how willing are you to retain? Because you're not retaining on just, like, that's why I said, who cares when someone brought up Horvat retain? Like, what do you need that cap space for this year?
Yeah, that's
right.
I don't really care about the cap.
I mean, other than purposes of getting out of LTIR. But again, I think we ran it at Canucks Army that, maximizing LTIR space and weaponizing it is a good idea for the Canucks to do, especially with Mikheyev and, all the other stuff they've got going on. I think they're going to, have to retain on Besser, but I don't think they should be scared of doing that because
the hawk flying by.
Yeah,
right out the window, eh?
I don't think they should be scared of doing that because that's how you retain. That's how you get anything of value for Brock Besser right now, right? Like you have to retain at least, I would say at least 25% in order to get anything of value.
Yeah,
for Brock
think
Besser.
about it. 25, you're retaining over 1.5 million. You got to do that for the next 2 years after
this
year.
If your sideways move is,
I think it's about the return for Besser there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
and
Besser's a very appealing add to a playoff team if you're paying him $4 million.
And that's
right?
how
that's a big thing there.
That's how if you're going to retool, that's how you do it, right? Like that's how you have to do it. You can't just say like, okay, well, we're going to give up an asset to get out of Besser so we have cap space to go sign other guys. Like, no, we're going to eat this cap hit for the next 2 years, and it's going to suck because it's on our books because we're retaining on it. But we're going to get a pretty decent asset out of it, a younger asset, someone we believe in. And again, if your sideways move is to put Anthony Beauvillier in the lineup, right? Brock Besser comes out because you've moved him. I don't think there's too many people that are upset with that. I'm not saying I don't like Brock Besser or anything. I just don't think he's playing up to his cap, and I don't think that's a hot take to say at all. And I think that's why they're ultimately going to have to retain on him. I just don't think it's going to work out for this player in Vancouver.
No, I'm with you. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens if he does go to another team and gets a new opportunity, new spot to actually be like be used in a spot where he is like the shooter. He's a first line guy. Like I think he can fit that on a lot of teams. I think he can fit that on a lot of competitive teams too. It's not just like he goes to Arizona and becomes the guy. Like I think he can be a guy that you want shooting the puck a lot on the power play on some of these pretty good teams as well. That the teams that have maybe a lack of just the pure shooter, right? The pure shooter that you like to have on your power play and playing with some of your better playmakers. I think he could find it, and I think he's gonna. I hope he has success wherever he ends up going as well too. But
Exactly.
We said it a little bit on yesterday's show, but I wanted to kind of just go over it again. Like Bo Horvat's leaving this organization, and I said it on yesterday's show that I thought, listen, the hometown discount that some people were hoping he was going to take is what he just took for the last 8 years being here, right? Like he did so much for this organization, was asked to do a lot of things, talk about a lot of stuff that wasn't hockey related, that was very difficult. He did an excellent job throughout. He was great in the community. See how many posts that you've seen from, Canucks for Kids, the Canucks Autism Network, all these groups putting out the photos of what he was like. You notice it when like I get people like messaging me sometimes like saying that they're going for autographs, and they always end up sending back like the autographs that they got. Bo Horvat always stopped to give autographs for fans. He was great with everyone. Couldn't have asked for a better captain, I think, in Vancouver, right? Like that's how I feel about it. Just like away from hockey, you couldn't have asked for a better captain than Bo Horvat. And being in the room this year, like I said on yesterday's show, like he's a guy that really, like the idea that was floated last year about like factions in the locker room, and it was like Horvat versus Miller. Like, I'm sorry, like from seeing the way that those two react in the locker room together, it was like there's no, like they were good, they were buds, right? And
You
like
could tell.
I think it's going to be difficult now to see how the next leadership group takes over, because I don't think, and this is just my feeling on the room, I don't think the room knows who's going to take over here. Right? Is it going to be the loud JT Miller crew? Is it going to be Luke Shen? Is Luke Shen going to be gone anytime soon? Is a veteran pairing of like OEL and Myers going to be the guys to take over the room, or is it the young guys' time?
I think Patrick Allvin's hoping it's the young guys.
Exactly. I think he is. We have some quotes from him we'll get to later. We got a lot of Patrick Allvin quotes. I'm putting Alex to work today on the quotes for sure. But to me, it's like I don't think that there's a full-on buy-in from the whole room that it is the young guys right now, right? I'm not saying that any player is kind of making that not happen with these guys, but I also just think that it's not fully set in stone yet, that this now, from this day moving forward, in that room anyways, is believing that it's like, this is go time for Pettersson, put the C on his chest, let's roll. He's now the leader of our group. Like, I'm not there. I'm just not there yet.
That's fair. And I mean, there's a lot of debate right now about what the Canucks should do with the captaincy, and Allvin kind of alluded to, I think these two are ready to take the reins as leaders. Yeah. I think they'll go with A's for the rest of the year. I think Allvin didn't say that that's for sure what they were going to do. He said he had to talk to Rick Tocchet and Jim Rutherford about it. So it'll be interesting. And he kind of leaned toward Tocchet being the guy who makes the ultimate decision, it seems. So I'm interested to see kind of which direction they go here. I think my personal opinion is they go with the A's. You give one to Pettersson, you give one to Hughes, obviously.
Okay.
And then next season, or I would even say go next season the same way, and the season after that, see who takes the reins, right? Like, see who steps up.
And I've said this on the show before, but I've seen the argument that is out there that it's for sure Pettersson. I don't know if the day-to-day dealing with media, like on the ice, I am 100% in agreement with everyone that Elias Pettersson is the captain. On the ice, Elias Pettersson is 100% the captain. That's how I feel about it. But I think like now being on the other side of it and seeing what it's like in the room, seeing what the captain has to answer to with the media, I don't know if he's the guy for that, right? I 100% think he's the captain on the ice, right? And everybody knows it. Everyone on that Canucks team, they know it. They know that Pettersson's the best player, right? Like he's the guy that can single-handedly win you the most games in a season. I'm just curious to see how that transitions to the other parts of being a captain, where you have to talk about the team on a 4-game losing streak. You have to talk about the team in back-to-back nights where they couldn't score a goal. That's why I still have it. And I know not a lot of people agree with me on this, but I think that Quinn Hughes for that part of it is a better option.
Yeah, sure.
I think Quinn Hughes is a better guy to speak for the team when they're at their worst, when they're at their best, just dealing with the media, which is a massive part of being a captain in a Canadian city. That's the way that I look at it. I just think Hughes would be better for that right now anyways. If Pettersson does some sort of evolving in that way, I'm cool with it, and I'm just 100% certain in my eyes that he's the captain on the ice.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's gonna have the seat with all the other stuff that comes with it.
That's fair. That's a fair take. That's a very fair take. And again, like I think that for that reason, you go with the A's and you just kind of see where it takes you next year. Okay,
let's get to Scotty.
Yeah, let's get to him. We're very excited about this, folks. Scott Rintoul of Unreal West Coast Express joining us now with a Meet Me in the Kitchen book behind him. Very nice.
It's a sign. It's no book. It's another podcast I host, actually. So,
Scotty, it's nice to get you here on the show. Obviously, I mean, the media tour for you has been nuts. It's been wild. Everywhere I look today, you're on one of our brother shows in Calgary with Barnburner over there. So just like, it must be a wild time for you. But I'll tell you, Scotty, coming on here, it's not television, it's not radio. You're with the podcast crowd right now here on the Canucks Conversation. So we're excited to get you on here for the podcast listeners. Let's just get started with the idea for this series that you're putting out, West Coast Express. Where did it come from? Because you've been around this market for a long time. I'm curious to what drove you to the point of saying, I want to do a series about the West Coast Express.
Okay, so before I answer the question, you two have both reached out to me. When you heard that this series was coming out, what was your first reaction?
I'll go first. I was really excited because, okay, so Scott, you know I'm not super old. I was kind of just starting to like the Canucks when the West Coast Express was getting almost dismantled, right? Like when it was the beginning of the end. And again, I know we're going to talk about it a lot in the series that you did, but that was when I started to be a Canucks fan, and I was playing the old video games, and it was like, oh, this line's one of the best in the game. I should be using them. And that was kind of how I started to become like, oh, okay, these are some of my favorite players here. And that's why I really wanted to listen to it, because this era is something that I didn't get to experience from the start. Obviously, like listening to episodes 1 and 2, I wasn't alive for anything that is being said in it. Like I was listening to it and I was like, wow, like I knew this happened, but to hear the people who were there saying it, that was why I was interested, and that's why I am liking it so far.
Yeah, I would have to say that I was excited to see coverage of that be modernized, like to see it put into podcast form and into a series. I was pretty excited from that aspect of it.
Awesome. So the reason you guys just mentioned and the connection that you talked about, Quads, that's why I wanted to do this. It's a great story to begin with. Like, just if you gave somebody the pitch line of, okay, here's the deal, 3 players acquired by 3 different general managers, 2 years apart, didn't work out with their original organizations, wind up on the best line in hockey. Like that in itself, from a sports perspective, is a great pitch. Then there's all of the ups and downs that happen along the way, the successes, the playoff failures, the setbacks, the overcoming adversity. There's a lot of that involved as well. From a personal standpoint, I wanted to dig into something long form. Most of my career has been spent doing things where, all right, we finished that. What's happening tomorrow? What are we on to the next day? And you guys know this as well with what you're doing right now. You get involved in conversations that you want to continue, but you can't because you have time constraints, or you're filing post game, or whatever it happens to be with what your job is. This was an opportunity to sit down with these players, coaches, managers, media, and talk for an hour and a half, and just get into some of their memories and their thoughts about some of the happenings that occurred along the way. And Quads, I'm really happy with what you brought up. That's episodes 1 and 2, because when I originally dreamed up this project, I thought, all right, we're going to talk about the great story I outlined for you at the beginning. But the more I thought about it, the more I decided you can't show people the true impact of this line and that team unless you show them how bad it got. And I know that there's a lot of Canucks fans listening right now that are thinking, this is the worst it's ever been. It's not. I'm telling you right now, it's not. You can look at the record and you can look at some of the playoff absences over the last number of years, but people are still going to games. People are still very engaged in the conversations you guys have multiple times a week. There was a point in the late 90s where people in Vancouver and BC really didn't want anything to do with the Vancouver Canucks. It's hard to imagine now, but part of the reason I don't think it'll ever go back there is because of this team and that line. The attention on the Vancouver Canucks and the franchise overall changed dramatically because of these players.
Okay, so I want to break this down because I listened to episode 1 and 2 already, and also fantastic job on episode 2. All the Messier stuff.
I haven't been to 2 yet. Be
sorry,
careful.
I won't spoil anything. And Scotty, without spoiling anything, I guess my question for you, and as someone just listening to the podcast that now has the pleasure of interviewing you about it, when you were doing it, what surprised you the most? Was there any conversation that you had where you were just kind of taken aback and said, like, holy cow, I wasn't expecting this person to give me what they just gave me?
Well, Wayne Gretzky's at the top of that list, and he's in episode number 1. And I won't spoil why he's in episode number 1 for those who don't know, but the great one himself is there. And the most surprising, I haven't told this story yet in any forum, but I'll tell it to you right now. So I had reached out to a mutual friend about the possibility of getting 99 on. And the friend said, look, shoot me a couple questions. I'll send them his way and I'll give him your contact info. And if he calls, then great. And if not, well, I guess he's got other stuff going on. So a few weeks later, my phone rings, and we all have the phone that rings right now. And it says, Missouri calling, or, Western New York, whatever it is. Well, this one came up with a California ID. And normally you don't pick those up. And I looked at my wife, and it was the middle of a day in the summer. And I went, I'm going to take this call. I got a gut feeling. And I picked it up, and on the other end is Wayne Gretzky. He doesn't announce himself as Wayne Gretzky. He just starts talking and says, yeah, I got a message that perhaps you wanted to talk. And I do remember a little bit about that time. And so he never even says it's Wayne Gretzky. So we get into this conversation, which is awesome. And he says, okay, I thought it was a book, but a podcast, that sounds great. Totally willing to do it. I've got to go to LA for 3 or 4 days, but then why don't we line something up for Monday or Tuesday? Well, my heart drops because I'm going to a wedding in Europe on the Saturday. So I literally have to say to Wayne Gretzky, I'm really sorry. I'm taking my wife to Europe. We're going to a wedding this weekend. I'm not going to be here next week. And I'm fully expecting this. Well, it's too bad it's not going to work out. I wish you all the best. Nice to meet you. Instead, Wayne Gretzky becomes the even greater one in my mind because he goes, oh, I had no idea. Take your wife to Europe, have an incredible time, and, well, you've got my number now, so when you get back, just text me and we'll line something up. Wayne Gretzky telling me, yeah, just text me when you get back. It was a surreal moment, guys.
You got to big time the great one. That is amazing.
Yeah.
What fantastic. Okay, so sorry, I'll let you get a question eventually, Chris.
No, do your thing. You're 2 episodes in.
I'm really enjoying it. And I'm glad you said you're not going to spoil the Gretzky thing, because I was literally about to with my next question, but I won't do that instead. So I guess what I want to ask you, Scott, is just how long of a process was this for you? Like from start to finish, and maybe take our listeners through the process of putting it all together.
Yeah, so originally I had the idea a few years ago, but then because of my work situation, I didn't have the free time to do it. I was going to do this 3 or 4 years ago. And so I put it on the shelf. And then when my job changed about a year and a quarter ago, 15 months ago, I guess it was, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I decided I'd go out on my own and take on some new endeavors that I hadn't tried before. And I just decided literally a year ago, you know what? This has been sitting in my brain long enough. Let's do it. So Marcus Naslin, Todd Bertuzzi, Brendan Morrison were my first calls in that order. And each of them agreed to do an interview. And once I got that, I started calling on the other guys that I thought were the pillars of this. And the other 2 for me were Mark Crawford and Brian Burke. I figured if I get those 5 people, I can tell this story well. Anything else I get is going to be awesome. But if I get those 5 people, I can tell the story well. Like those are the foundation of it for me. And then the Sedins were happy to come on board. Ed Jovanovski, go down the list of media names, guys from the past that helped me tell the story early, like Dave Babbage and Corey Hirsch, Arthur Griffiths coming on to explain how ownership changed. And while that might seem like a really minor point to the Canucks fan out there, it set the table for everything that happened with the downfall of the Canucks and then the Canucks to become what they did with Naslin, Bertuzzi, Morrison. So it's a really important part of the story. Could I have done this project quicker? Probably, but I had other stuff going on. I had other opportunities that I was looking at and executing on at the same time. So this took me the better part of a year to get all together and then get it to the point where we could actually put episodes out there.
Well, Scott, we got a lot of people in here in the chat excited to see you here on the show because they've watched you in Vancouver media for a long time. Is there any thought of doing this something else? Like you're one of the guys who knows Vancouver sports history more than anybody. So like, it's now that you've accomplished and put out this product, is this something you want to keep doing?
It is. And I will say, and I hope this doesn't disappoint too many people in the Canucks nation that's listening right now, but these stories might expand beyond Vancouver, beyond hockey for that matter. I think there's so many great stories out there, guys. And I'm of the opinion that we're living in this time where people are so fast on to the next one and what's happening tomorrow and forget about what happened yesterday, that we don't spend enough time actually diving into longer form stories that people don't know a lot about or don't have perspective on. And so that's what this process has been like for me. I'd love to do more of this. I have really enjoyed the process. It's not easy. It's a lot of legwork and you don't always get everything you want, but man, is it rewarding to have those conversations, to put something cool together and then put it out to the world and be proud of it. And whether it's received extremely well or not, and so far it certainly has been, and I appreciate that you guys are into it as well. When you're proud to put that product out there and just share it with everybody, it's a pretty cool feeling.
I'm sure that that microphone there and your camera has been getting a workout from how many things we've seen you upload in the past 10 days here. I know Sino Chicken here says, can Scotty produce a deep dive podcast into the Boudreaux era? Because that would be must listen. So I'm sure we'll give you some time to collect your information on that. But Scotty, this has been great. Really appreciate you coming on here. And I'll have to get to episode 2 after we record here pretty much, actually. So thanks for taking the time, Scotty.
Anytime. I'm just going to give a quick plug. This is the podcast world, so people already get it, but Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast, you will find this. You can also go to unrealsports.com, Unreal with 2 E's, unrealsports.com, and you can find everything there. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. You betcha. It was great. And by the way, I seen you updated and put numbers on the episodes. People were excited about that online today. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Scotty. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.
I guess Scott Rintoul joining us there. Awesome. I didn't know you were 2 episodes in already.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm very much so enjoying it, and I've already had a few people message me and say as soon as they're done watching our show or listening to our show on the podcast, they're going to go listen to that.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
hey,
I like these series, man.
Oh, it's so
how much I love that whistleblower one.
Great form of storytelling, and honestly, like I hope that one day at Canucks Army, like we can do something like this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No more fart gates. Let's get an actual story out there. Okay, brought to you by you. Do this.
Okay, yeah.
You talk. I'll talk my way through. You do it first.
Well, hang on a sec.
Okay.
All of our guests are brought to you by the great folks over at Zephyr Epic. You can use promo code Hockey Season, capital H, capital S, all one word.
Yeah.
Hockey Season. That will get you $5 off your order at ZephyrEpic.com. ZEPHYR Epic. Check them out on social media platforms as well. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Go give them a follow. Tell them Canucks Combo sent you. They also have a retail location in Surrey.
I was there on Saturday. Commander Vander was there.
And my co-host, along with a longtime listener of the show and often commenter of the show, Commander Vander, went over to Zephyr Epic, and you've got some cards for us.
Yeah, here we go. You can get going on this, Quads. You can open your first pack.
Walk through the listeners what I'm opening right now.
Yeah, so we got a couple of these CHL packs. We got a whole box. We're going to rip through these when we have guests. We got the CHL pack. There's a rookie Connor Bedard in here somewhere. It's a little snot bubble there. But there's a rookie Connor Bedard in there. You're not good with opening the packs.
Slimy.
Yeah, mine are too. Holding the mic here this whole time. But that's what we're looking for. We're going to do the live opening here. Thanks to the great folks over at Zephyr Epic. This is big on YouTube. I wonder if our listeners jump up because I see us starting to open cards here. Man, you're really struggling, eh?
Yeah, well, my hands are like sweaty because I'm holding the mic the whole time. You know what? We should make this a clip on YouTube. We should text Aaron, get Aaron to get the pack opening, get the Scotty interview.
Patrick Allvin quotes. You don't need to read off every player name. Just go through there and see if you get anything of note there. Because there are a couple Canucks prospects, actually.
Yeah, any Canucks prospect, anybody whose name I know.
Commander Vander pulled a Victor Persson card, believe it or not. I forgot that he was a CHL guy. Canucks prospect there, Victor Persson. So you got yours. CHL cards here, running through it. Anything of interesting? Put it up to the camera a little bit as you're scrolling through. Nothing there, Quadsy. Nobody can see what's going on here. Nothing. Trash. Got something. A couple of decent cards here. Oh, geez, I thought that was a Pats card. Okay. Nothing there, but hey, we're looking for the Connor Bedard. Do the other one now. Series 1. You can get this. This is this year.
What, you want me to open it, or
yeah,
you?
do your other Series 1
You
now.
open your CHL one.
Okay,
Go
fine.
ahead.
Talk your way through this.
Yeah,
here.
and again, for the podcast listeners, I know this might not be the most intriguing thing, so I'll walk you through it. Chris is opening the hockey pack. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But again, Scott Rintoul, what a great guy. Taking the time. Very, very nice of him to come on the show as Chris opens this pack here.
Regina Pat rookie.
Regina Pat rookie. It is not Connor Bedard. I think you would be freaking out a lot more. Is that a clear cut, or is there just green behind him?
Just some green.
Okay. Anyways, this isn't great for the podcast. I understand. So you pick up your mic there. Okay.
I got another nice little
this
card
one,
here. CHL Pro Spiles of Callum Ritchie.
Okay, well, this one opened
Nice
a lot
little card
easier.
there.
I was really struggling with that first
2005 kit.
First,
Jeez.
first card in the pack is the Vancouver Canucks goaltender.
Yeah, so this is the Series 1. This is the bait. Like, this is if you're going out to get hockey cards and you just want to like get the basic set, you got to go with the Upper Deck Series 1. This is the one to go with here. Simple cards. They got the Young Guns in here. Obviously, that's what you're looking for. Some sort of insert. I see you got a UD canvas there. Nothing else really special looking in your pack, but
yeah, Patrick Kane UD canvas. Still nice looking cards. So, yeah. Anyways, be sure to go get your own cards over at Zephyr Epic. Like I said, check them out online. ZEPHYR epic.com as Chris pulls a Tyler Myers. Little voice crack there. But be sure to go check out Zephyr Epic. Go get some hockey cards of your own. Anything you want, really. Like if you got kids that are into the Yu-Gi-Oh or the Pokemon, or even if you're into those, whatever it is. I say that as somebody who plays with Lego as a grown man. So
Tanner Pearson and a Tyler Myers. And look at this card. This looks great.
That is a nice looking card. It is a UD portrait of Steven Stamkos.
If that's what the UD portraits looks like this year. That's awesome. Come on, Cam. You know how much I paid for this damn camera and I can't get it to freaking focus on anything here? Oh, I tell you.
Okay.
That's probably Alex's fault or something.
Anyways,
over there.
be sure to go check out Zephyr Epic. They also have free shipping Canada-wide on any order over $50
right.
from I miss when we used to do that.
Oh, I know. But I had to put so much work into doing the damn
I don't
thing
like to
before.
put you on the spot. I know you don't.
From Kelowna to
Campbell River.
No, that's a C. I can't think of any with something with the K. There's another city out there.
Canada.
Yeah, Canada and Kitchener.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on here.
That's a cool Stamkos. Hey, yeah, Commander Banner says there.
Okay. Cool. Patrick Allvin quotes. Go.
Oh, we got so many Patrick. Let's just start with one. Okay. This one I think we can all just laugh at off the top. The 3 first-rounders one. The Patrick Allvin said, like, okay, listen, I get that you got it, you're happy about the trade you just made. But here's Patrick Allvin talking about getting 3 first-round picks for the Vancouver Canucks.
You know what? You can look at it that we got actually 3 first-rounders back here.
Yeah, and I can look in the mirror and look like I'm jacked if I look at it the right way, but I'm not. I mean, listen, you get Ratu, who was a second-round pick. Beauvillier was a first-round pick like 8 years ago, and you do get a first-round pick. You do get one there. So I just that quote was hilarious to me. I mean, it's not. You didn't get 3 first-round picks for Bo Horvat in the end, but Allvin's excited about his guy here. So.
And again, I know everybody's giving him a hard time about that.
I think it's funny as hell.
I think he was kind of joking. Like,
yeah,
I also understand what he was saying. Like, there's people like, oh, Aatu Raty was a second-round pick.
Yeah, he was.
And but he was projected to be like a top 5 pick for the years before.
Well, you heard Tommy yesterday. He said, yeah, number 1 pick when he was 16, he was supposed to be.
Exactly.
And then this is the big deal. This is what I heard, okay, about Aatu Raty. Listen, so he plays with that same organization, Carpat, right? His whole life. He was there as a junior player. He was there as a player going up into the U16, U18, U20, ends up getting the league and playing with them. They didn't do him well in his draft year there, right? They didn't give him the opportunity to have success. Yep. They're playing him 10 minutes a night. I don't want to say shame on the organization, but like that's a tough move from the organization to put him in a spot like that where the kid's going into that year as one of the top 3 draft picks.
And Raty talked about this in his opening media availability with the Canucks. This is what he said. He said, yeah, it was a lot to do with opportunity. I feel like it was kind of with the confidence. I feel like going to a new team, going from hardly playing to playing a lot. Yeah, I was jumping from 10 minutes a game to almost 20 minutes a game. So it's a huge difference. And again, you see that with his production.
Big time, 40 points.
Jump. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, some good stuff there.
And again, 2 goals, one of those at Rogers Arena. So hopefully that continues when he steps on
Yeah.
the Rogers Arena ice. He's going to be joining the Abbotsford Canucks.
Not playing tonight.
They're in California right now. He's going to be there for the San Jose.
Look how good Alex is on YouTube, eh?
The San Jose Barracuda game on Friday.
Yeah, they got Barracuda on Friday.
And that's where he's going to play.
Yeah, what I hear is he might be in the lineup.
Okay.
It's not for sure he's in the lineup on Friday from what I heard.
Cool.
But I tell you what, if he is, you put him with Höglander and Podkolzin, which we'll get to that audio.
That's
now in
a fun
second.
line.
Patrick Allvin about Höglander and Podkolzin in the AHL for a little bit here. I don't want to put Alex on the spot. Alex is doing such a good job. You got the video up there, good stuff. He's working hard over there. But the Höglander and Podkolzin talk about them sticking in the AHL is something I found interesting from Allvin. I don't think that you can really say that he tipped his cap because he doesn't do that ever in any media availabilities. But I will say this before we get to this quote. I thought, and listen, I've been to every single one this year with Patrick Allvin media availabilities. I thought the last one was his best one.
I thought so too.
I thought he actually did give a couple of answers. And listen, I'm not saying he's great at media just because of this one thing, but he did give some honest answers on a few things in this most recent one. Let's hear him talk about Niels Höglander and Vasily Podkolzin and their situation with them currently being in the AHL, but maybe getting some time to come up here and show what they could do in front of Rick Tocchet. Here's Patrick Allvin.
We as a staff here, we're going to obviously be missing some bodies here coming in to New York a week from now. So we'll get together here and we need to make some call-ups. Those particular names, Podkolzin has been playing really, really well. Not just scoring, I think his attitude and how he plays a 200-foot game and his practice habits has been extremely well. So I could see him and I could see Nils eventually getting a chance coming back up here and showing. As of now, where we sit in the stands, I would hope that those guys are going to get an opportunity to go for a long run in Abbotsford in the playoffs there too.
So this wasn't. I don't think this was my question, but he was looking at me the whole time while he was talking about Abbotsford. It's I don't know. You must see the Twitter or listen to the show. Maybe Allvin listens to the show. But I found just the way he talked about Podkolzin and Höglander a little bit differently there. Did it not sound like he was kind of hinting at Podkolzin coming up here soon and Höglander staying for a little bit? He didn't say that completely in that quote.
He said, I could also see Niels getting a call
the
up.
way he kind of said it a little bit was it sounds like Podkolzin's going to be up here quickly. Niels is going to be up here long.
For the past week or month, I'd say you've been saying that. You've been saying I don't think there's much that Podkolzin's gaining for being in the AHL. Höglander, it's a different story.
Yeah, and I think Höglander's agent was here last week, like I said, and he was here to kind of make sure Hugs is doing good, right? He's down there in the AHL, and some players in that situation, when you go from being think about it, Niels Höglander was in the top league in Sweden for 3 seasons, right? Spent 3 full seasons, 2.5 seasons in the SHL. Before coming up to make his jump immediately to the NHL. This is the first time he's been in the AHL, right? He didn't go down for the playoffs last year. He was injured, and now he's in here for the first time. So his agent came in to check on him, and conversations were had. It sounds like I don't think he's going to be down here the full season, but I think he'll be back there for the playoffs, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here moving forward. But I just think the indication that we got there from Allvin sort of hinted at that Podkolzin could be here moving up. I want to get to another one from Allvin here about prioritizing centers or defensemen. Right, because we looked at this trade, and listen, Beauvillier's coming in; he's a winger. Ratu's coming in. It sounds like they really like him as a center. The other thing that's interesting, and a lot of people are these people in the industry are telling me he's going to be a winger. I found it interesting, not only the quotes that Patrick Allvin talked about of him being a center, but if you listen to the Lou Lamoriello interview as well, post right after the trade, he mentioned that we feel pretty good about the depth in our prospect system on the wing, and we don't view Ratu as a winger. Even Lamoriello, who just got rid of him, said no, we've always viewed him as a center. So here's Patrick Allvin talking about prioritizing centers or defensemen in a trade for Horvat.
Do you prioritize getting a center back over, say, getting a young defenseman back?
Good question. I mean, yes, we did prioritize to get a center or a defenseman back. Obviously, there's other teams that if they have it or not, and being part of discussions. But we felt strongly here that Raty was a key piece in this deal, along with the first-round pick.
So I mean, we kind of think we've talked about this a little bit. That first-round pick that you've added needs to become a defenseman in one way or the other. That first-round pick that you've added with the Islanders there. Unless it becomes a top 5 pick in next year's draft, you have to use that to cash in a little bit to get that defenseman. Like, that's the way I look at it is, okay, you got Raty. Now you have a little bit of a center kind of in your system who seems pretty close to the NHL, right? Like he's played NHL games this year. He's been in the AHL doing a pretty good job there playing center. Now you need to cash in that other first round pick on a defenseman, whether it be a trade, whether it be a draft, you 100% need to find a defenseman there. That's how I look at it.
Yep. And hey, no disagreement there. You're not going to get any disagreement there. Do we have any more
final one? I want to just
Allvin?
do the leadership because we had the little discussion there going into Scotty. So let's hear Allvin, and you kind of brought it up, I think, earlier, the way that he was talking about Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson, this young leadership taking over the room. So let's hear from Patrick Allvin on the young leadership of this team.
Well, it is. Again, I think we have some young players here in Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes that are ready for stepping up here and being part of the leadership moving forward. And Elias' performance and Quinn's performance on the ice definitely shows it. So hopefully we can build on and having more, younger players taking on a bigger role and bigger leadership part of this group moving forward.
I think you rubbed
my mic on the wall. Sorry,
you thought you were on mute.
I was yawning.
No, I mean, listen, we know the way that Allvin talked about it. That wasn't the only answer he gave where he talked about Hughes and Pettersson being the leadership group. So not a lot of mention of Did you see the bet? Somebody had this. One of the bets came out. What's the local BC one? Play Now.
Play Now. Yep.
Not quite as good as our friends over there at Betway, but they had one coming out. You can bet on Tyler Myers being captain. 10-1 odds. I know Quads. He's all about Tyler Myers here. I opened this card. I saw your eyes light up. I got the Tyler Myers card here today. But with the young leadership, it feels like just hearing the general manager come out and talk about that, not mention some of those guys, like whether it be a Luke Shen or JT Miller or Tyler Myers or an OEL. Like I like that. That's the direction kind of put out there from the GM. Right.
It is a future based move, which this market has been starving for, followed by future based messaging, which is what this market has gotten in the past, but hasn't really seen put into action.
Seen some action, that's for sure. That's good.
Betway, get us out of here.
Well, I don't have a Betway bet today.
Okay. Well,
I thought there was no hockey today. There's 2 more games going on here.
Yes, there is still hockey. There's been hockey being played.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
On Friday, the skills competition, Bo Horvat is going to be representing the Pacific Division. Not sure if he's going to be representing the Canucks or what uniform he's going to be wearing. That'll be really interesting to see. But regardless, Bo Horvat will still be at the All-Star game.
Who's set up for some pretty good content right now is Finn. I've seen Finn's down there.
Oh, very nice. I like that they do the mascot.
Yeah,
stuff.
Betway, you got to be 19 plus to play bet the responsible way over there on Betway.
Yeah, go check out Betway.
They probably have small star stuff coming up here.
They got lots of stuff.
I just, you know what? I blanked pretty hard thinking that I thought there was no games today.
Okay.
And Alex gets in here. He's yelling at us as he usually is. And he tells us, they're playing tonight.
Okay. Anyway, so be sure to go check out Betway 19 plus to play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly. Yeah. We'll wrap it up there.
Okay.
For my co-host, Chris Faber.
Are we going back to week off now? We're back. Are we off again?
Yeah, we'll be back on Monday.
We'll be back on Monday? Okay.
Yeah. For my co-host, Chris Faber, and our technical producer, Alex Allard, our thanks once again to Zephyr Epic and to Scott Rintoul.
The good people at Zephyr Epic, man. I tell you, everything you got. We got these cards boxes. Look at this.
Okay.
1 box here. What else do we got? 2 boxes here. We got cards. We're going to be opening up for a long time. Long time here.
I don't want to have
and
to
look
do
at
it.
this one. The metal skybox. We haven't even started with the metal universe skybox. Look at those cards. These are incredible. Commander Vander opened one of these with me at Zephyr Epic on the weekend. These things are gorgeous.
All right. Gonna have to mute your mic now. For my co-host, Chris Faber.
What about this?
Oh, yeah. Come on, Quads. Bring me back here.
Okay,
Bring me
fine,
back
you're
here.
good. What?
Okay. Sunny Chiba's my favorite spot. Thank you, Alex. Alex, you always say, what's Alex doing not paying? I say Alex is always paying attention. I was out at my favorite spot yesterday, Sunny Chivas, and here's Zach. He was in the back, and he was ripping up Canucks hat. You can't really see it in there, but he made the best Sunny Chivas meal I ever had. I don't know if he's a listener or a reader, but
knew who you were.
Saw me and knew who I was.
Helps that you walk around with a giant Canucks Army hat.
Well, it's not giant. It's just average size on my head. It looks big or it's small. It's big. Look at that. And Alex has got me behind the Sunny Chivas now. Look, that's where I was yesterday. Hold on, right here. That's what I ordered right there. I ordered the tacos and the Chiba fries. Anybody who knows out there
good order
in Squamish, if you've been, and it was great to see Canucks Army reader or a Canucks Convo listener. So appreciate Zach out there. That was awesome.
And Zach, he sent me fried chicken too.
Yeah, you got some fried chicken coming back for you too.
Yeah,
so you got your fried
Zach.
chicken, and that was the best Chiba fries we had ever yesterday.
Beautiful.
So excellent stuff.
Solid.
And it was great to meet Zach out there yesterday.
All right. We'll wrap it up there. For
Thank you, Alex.
Chris Faber, technical producer Alex Lardner. Thanks again to Zephyr Epic. And of course, Scott Rintoul for joining us on this episode. Folks, my name is Dave Gujarelli. This has been the Canucks Conversation.
Yeah, tell the bosses Alex needs a raise.
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?